Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.
Good Wednesday afternoon. First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips here. We are going to be updating you on our more seasonal weather for today. We had a warm up yesterday, but that didn't last all that long. However, I am still keeping an eye on those temperatures that are setting up for the weekend. So we're going to be talking about that warm up that's on track for Valentine's Day. We'll also look at that forecast, but we are also going to be giving you a little bit of a glimpse of where I was last week because I was able to take a trip to Hawaii with some of our TV5 viewers. So I'm going to share some of those photos here. So I am going to first talk about the forecast. We'll do that, and then we are going to transition into something maybe a little bit more mild feeling. But outside now, we have been keeping an eye to some snow showers. You're going to find on our pinpoint Doppler that the lake effect is still up and running for us. That's going to continue to be something that we're watching today with those northwest winds. Those have been bringing in just a couple of flurries. I've been seeing on just some of our sensors that it is detecting flurries or some lighter snow showers. Haven't seen anything that's been all that intense, but we are going to be finding that it doesn't always get picked up on radar coming into the Tri-Cities or in the northern portions of the thumb. So that's just kind of some of our zones that are maybe a little bit less covered on those radar circles and kind of scans that we're able to get. So we are still seeing, though, that we do have some snow showers that are scattered throughout mid-Michigan. Overall, the coverage hasn't been too bad. Roadways have also been in good shape. Taking a look here along 75 into Birch Run, you can see that our travelers on 75 not really having too much of a problem here. So we're going to continue to see that the evening commute for anybody driving home not going to have any issues outside to get you there. Our temperatures so far, those have been sitting. As we bring those up, those have been sitting into the upper 20s, just trying to get close to 30 degrees. Brown Airport is reporting 30 right now. We're at 29 though at MBS. Same for Flint, Midland, and in Gladwin. We are at 28 in Bad Axe. We have 31 in Caseville, 30 in Oscoda. We have 29 in Port Hope, Harbor Beach, Port Sanilac. So a lot of us into those mid to upper 20s, just getting into those 30s. Yesterday we saw 40s, so we are noticing a little bit more of a change here. Even as I bring up kind of that 24-hour difference across mid-Michigan, you're going to see that it's not a huge difference, but it is noticeable. Yesterday, the thumb, we just kind of kept it a little bit cooler, so that's why we're only noticing a difference now of it being about 5 degrees colder than yesterday. But you can see Flint nearly a 10-degree difference, in Mount Pleasant a 12-degree difference. So it is much cooler compared to yesterday, but that has not stalled out, though, our heat for later on this week. We're still on track to be seeing those warmer conditions in the forecast. So just kind of hold on here. We will be bringing in that mild air. It's just today and tomorrow that we are going to be finding the more seasonal temperatures. Our average high is actually 31 at this point in the season, but we still have 40s. And actually these numbers we were able to bump up with the data that we collected overnight and this morning. So we're up to 42 for Friday and even 46 by Sunday. So it's not just lower 40s, but even some mid 40s by Sunday. Kind of even seeing some of the trends for next week. We may be getting close to those 50s. So we'll be watching that closely because for ice fishing, that's going to be a big concern for safety. And also just any melting. Of course, those 40s and also some sunshine this weekend is really going to help to get that snow to do that disappearing act here. So it looks to be kind of in the forecast, maybe a little more spring-like rather than winter, but it's still winter after all. We have the snow showers today, so it's just kind of that grip that winter has on us maybe isn't so tight as what it was into January and even early February when we had that Arctic blast. When we look at our temperature outlook, I know we talked about this yesterday, so very similar. A lot of the thinking has not changed here. We're still seeing likely and high chances that our temperatures are going to be above 31 degrees. So that's mainly what this map is. It's not necessarily going and saying, oh, this is what your temperatures are going to be number by number, but it's more that you have a good probability that your temperatures are going to be above average. So our average sitting at 31, it means that it's likely that we're going to be above that mark, and we're easily going to get there considering we have some 40s in the forecast for next week. I had talked a little bit about bringing some sunshine here for the weekend, so that is still on track. Today, though, still pretty cloudy, kind of that winter vibe with the winter clouds. Tomorrow, it's still going to be fairly cloudy. I'm hoping to get at least a couple of breaks in the cloud cover, bring us some sunshine, but we really have better chances of seeing some sun going into Friday. So we are going to have a little bit more clearing on those skies, so we are going to have a more sunny forecast setting up for the weekend. If you were maybe taking a long weekend going away for Valentine's Day, having Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, great timing. We have a great forecast for this weekend. You're going to have that sunshine, dry roadways, no issues traveling. And even Sunday, we were kind of watching a system to come through, but you can see that it is going to be a little bit more on the sunny side. So we were able to kind of take that system out. That's just not holding in the data anymore. So we're in pretty good shape here for any weekend plans that you have. If you are going to be going out or even trying to make plans for Valentine's Day, we'll say that this is your friendly reminder so it doesn't sneak up on you on Saturday. But with the sunshine, mild temperatures getting up around the 40s, we have a great day. So if you want to maybe take your sweetheart outside, it is going to be nice, even if it's just for a quick walk, or if you're going to try to do maybe a picnic of some sort. You're still going to have to bundle up, and there still is going to be some wet grass because of the snow melt. But if you're maybe creative, you can spend a little bit of time outside with your Valentine. So Saturday's forecast is going to be looking pretty good there. Even as we look ahead in the hour by hour, you are going to be finding that we still have the snow showers that we are tracking for today. We are going to be seeing that setting up to bring still some snow showers across Iosco, Ogama, Roscommon counties. Even in Aranac, you may pick up a couple of snowflakes. And we are watching into the northern portions of Huron County. You can see there, Port Hope, we have some of those snow bands setting up. So we'll be watching for that pretty closely here just to see if any of those can really reach kind of that stronger threshold. So far, the coverage from the snow bands hasn't really been all that strong. We do see going into tomorrow morning that it is pretty quiet outside. We have some cloud cover, just a little bit of sun coming through, and throughout the day we'll still see that it's mostly cloudy with just a few moments of some sun. As we go into our Friday morning, still not a lot of changes. You're going to see it's pretty quiet on the hour by hour. We're going to have the cloudy skies to start on Friday, but then that sunshine should start to roll in. So we do have, again, that great weekend forecast that we're looking forward to, perfectly timed out for Valentine's Day. So the forecast is looking fairly nice. Even when we look at what the next 7 days has in store, you are going to be finding that we just had that 10% in just for kind of some of the snow showers and flurries that we've seen for today. But we will try to bring in a little bit of sun tomorrow, the chances of that on the lower end. But we do start to see that improvement, those skies clearing up Friday, Saturday into Sunday. Saturday kind of looking like the pick day because we'll have the majority of our sunshine that day. But still seeing upper 30s, 40s, not going to be bad, even with some sunshine here for your weekend plans. Even going into next week, Monday looking nice. We have a high of 42, 44 as we go into Tuesday. So we're going to continue to track some of those low to mid 40s going into next week. And we don't really have a lot of systems coming in. The pattern has been a little bit quiet. We do have kind of a system coming in, not this weekend, but next weekend. We'll watch to see how well that holds together. It still hasn't even really developed. We have to wait for that to take shape here. So there's still a lot that we're going to be tracking, but so far we're kind of in a more quiet stretch. So for folks who were thinking, oh, February, we probably have a lot of winter weather going on, we still have some storms that we're tracking, just may not be as strong as what you would expect here. I am also going to point out and highlight here before I forget is our sunset time tonight. If you're also thinking maybe of a new season, our sunset tonight is going to be at 6:01 p.m. So what that means is it is our first 6 o'clock sunset, and that is going to remain until November 1st. So that is going to be actually the time change in the fall. So we're going to continue now to see that daylight expanding into our evenings. So that's going to hold on here for a while. So plan on those 6 o'clock sunsets starting tonight, and then lasting all the way into November, at least getting us into the first. I believe Halloween lands on a Saturday, so that means then the time change is going to happen on Sunday at 2 a.m. November 1st. So you can mark your calendars. We're still a ways away from that. Another fun fact is that we are gaining about 2 minutes and 41 seconds of daylight today, so we're going to continue to see some of those big gains and jumps. So that's why it's going to be pretty easy to get into these 6 o'clock sunsets and just kind of continue to add that time on for us. So you are going to definitely notice that we're kind of getting through winter, but it's still not done yet. I'm not turning off any of the snow products by any means. We always just want to keep an eye out and first alert you to any of that weather that can be coming up. As I had mentioned, we are also going to be talking about some more mild weather, just not here in mid-Michigan. So we are going to take a real quick break, and we will have that 60 seconds to kind of set up, and then I will be sharing about my recent trip with some of our local viewers. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll talk about that after this quick minute break. Welcome back. If you are maybe a little bit tired of the cold air and hoping for something a little bit warmer, I know some folks, they like warm weather, others like cold weather. So this is though going to be for the folks who like the warmer weather, maybe are just a little bit fatigued with the winter weather that we've had. But just over the last week, maybe you saw the commercials, but myself, I was able to travel with 28 TV5 viewers through holiday vacations, and we went to Hawaii for a couple of days. So it was great to kind of get to meet everybody. We had a good turnout from folks into the Thumb. We also had quite a few folks coming in from Genesee County through the Tri-Cities. So it was great to get to know everybody, learn more about their communities, what they love, what makes them special. Of course, we learn that here in the newsroom, but it really helps to hear all of your voices. So I wanted to share just some of the photos that I was able to take while I was there. Just some of the highlights that we had. One of the things that's really kind of popular is aloha signs. Of course, that is the Hawaiian greeting. So you will see if you are able to travel to the 50th state that there's a lot of those signs that are out there. So I actually took this at the Dole Plantation. We had some leisure days, so I was able to head out there, kind of learn how they grow pineapple, how it's harvested. So it was kind of interesting to see that a big main product that they have there, I was able to learn kind of how that really influences their culture and kind of how that industry works there. Also, while we were on Oahu, that was the first island that we went to, we did start out in Pearl Harbor. So we did visit the memorial there for the USS Arizona. When you are there, you're able to take in kind of all the memorials and the sites and the plaques that they have there. They also have a museum there as well. And then you can take a skiff out to the memorial site itself. So this is kind of the memorial. You take the skiff over there, and you're only there for about 10 to 15 minutes. But inside, this is kind of where they have, you're able to see the ship that did go down in that attack. So we also had some folks that had some fresh leis. They took their leis, cut the flowers off, and they did throw them in remembrance of those soldiers who lost their lives that day. So we were able to see kind of the remnants of that ship, that battleship that was left. Also, kind of a thing that is known is that it is still leaking oil, and we were able to see that oil sitting on top of the water there. So that is still coming out. I did have a photo of that, just didn't enter it into the system. Of course, in the memorial, we were able to see the wall of all of the servicemen who did lose their lives. You'll also see there, kind of right into the front, that there are some names that are not on the wall. There were some survivors from the attack, and some of them have decided that once they passed away, that they wanted to be back with their service members. So they were cremated, and then there was a service performed to where they took their urns down, and they were then buried there on the USS Arizona with their shipmates. So definitely a moving experience if you're able to go. I know I was able to learn a lot. It kind of just takes what you learn in the classroom and just amplify that, just kind of learning that living history, and to continue to kind of keep that alive, their memory alive, and the sacrifices then. Another activity that folks were able to do in the group was to go to the Polynesian Cultural Center. So they went out, they learned, of course, a lot of the culture. A lot of them said that they were learning dancing. So throughout the day, they kind of learned some of the techniques to where at the end of the day, they were able to do some of the dances. So they really enjoyed that. They also got to learn about the food and, of course, the culture. So it was a long day, but a lot of them said it was very immersive, and they really enjoy learning. Then we went out beyond some of the things that we also saw in Oahu. We were then flown over to Kauai, which is another Hawaiian island. So while we were there, we learned that the population on that island is only about 65,000 people. So it's not the most populated. Oahu is the most populated, with Honolulu being kind of the busiest city that they have there in the state of Hawaii. But when we did get to Kauai, this is kind of known as the rules. So you start in Oahu, which is more city, and then you go out a little bit more into the country in Kauai. So there we visited Waimea Canyon, which is known as the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. So there is a waterfall you can see there kind of on the left-hand side of this image. We had folks who did the helicopter ride, and they really enjoyed that. They were able to fly through the canyon. They also saw more waterfalls than just the one, but this is from the lookout. It is 3,400 feet in elevation. So when we started at the ground level, kind of driving up, it was about 75 degrees, maybe even getting closer towards 77, 78. By the time we got to the lookout, it was about 65 degrees. So there was a noticeable difference just because we were climbing in that elevation. So we definitely noticed the cool down when we were there at the lookout, but definitely a gorgeous site here, very lush. You know, if you've been to the Grand Canyon, you see, of course, some trees, but this, again, a little more lush. This is also Kauai is one of their more wetter islands, and they are able to pick up a little bit more rainfall, so that's what helps to keep everything green. So we definitely had to keep that in mind as we did have to encounter some rain. Of course, when we saw this, we had wonderful weather. Also, when we were in Kauai, we also had a leisure day, so a lot of folks were able to go to the ocean, search for some sea glass, and even do some touring, chasing some waterfalls. They were able to take cars out and do that, or even go for bike rides. So there was a lot of options for people to take in the island. Then we did go to Maui. We went to the Maui Ocean Center. So, of course, you have the aquariums. We're able to learn about coral, the different fish. They also, though, had some outside portions, so you were able to kind of take in some of those exhibits. So this is just one of the turtles that they have there at the center. You can see the second one there into the background. A lot of learning because, of course, the ocean is huge for them there in Hawaii, so they definitely want to take care of it. Of course, recycling is big. You only have so much space, so they try to take care of that. This is one of the photos. We had a group go whale watching. And so this was one of the photos that was captured while they were there. Going during the winter season, it is whale season. So the whales are pretty close to the shoreline. A lot of them are also birthing at this time of year. So they are not very far off from the water. We would be able to stand at the shore and kind of see them come up and splash. So only male whales do hop out of the water and splash. The reason that they do that is they're trying to show off. So we thought that was very humorous. But so you can see this whale kind of showing off here for the crowd. So it was amazing to kind of see that they would just come up. You would see that splash. So it was very active. So that was a lot of fun to do some whale watching while we were there. We also, though, while we were at the aquarium, we did see stingray that were in there. They also had a tiger shark. So that is actually going to be released back out to the wild, but that is there right now. So we were able to see that kind of swim through. Another thing to kind of note going in and seeing this photo, so this was taken in Maui because we had a group do the Road to Hana, which is a very popular adventure that a lot of people do when they are in Maui. But the other thing, though, that you'll kind of notice is that some of these roads going to some of these are very winding and up and down, left and right. So the Road to Hana has 600 curves. So it's quite a road if you are prone to motion sickness. It's kind of a tricky travel experience to do. Even going up to the canyon, of course, they had alerted us that if you get motion sickness, to just kind of holler to make sure that everybody's okay, because the roads are going to be winding as they go to some of these beautiful stops. But you can see that it's well worth the adventure. Of course, it's a good day's drive, stopping to see the waterfalls, some of these outlooks. So they had a wonderful afternoon. We still had some great weather starting out when we did get to Maui, but we did have some rainfall at the back half of the trip. So that meant that we had to go inside, do some indoor events. I was able to learn how to make a lei, so that was really fun. It's actually pretty easy to do. So you just kind of take what the leis are made of, kind of a variety of orchid, and you kind of sew through the mouth of it and kind of come through the back, and then it just slides on, and then you kind of tie it when you're done. So it's pretty easy to do, but it was still kind of fun to learn that. And the flowers are fresh. Leis, when you get them, they are fresh. Now, if you go to Hawaii, you do not always get that when you get off the plane. That is kind of a little add-on. So that was something that was pretty traditional way back when, but that has since kind of been a little bit just not included anymore. So if you do go to Hawaii, just know that you will not always get that lei when you get off the plane. So it is still fun to kind of learn that other side of the culture, especially how to wear them. You don't want to wear them just kind of like a necklace. You would want it half in the front, half in the back. That's kind of the proper way to wear a lei. Also, as I mentioned, we did have some rain, so this is one of our more cloudier days. You can see not a lot of people wanting to be in the pool, but we also had Lanai, the other Hawaiian island is in the background there. It was a little bit tricky to see the island, wasn't very far, but because we did have some of that lower cloud base, kind of fog and rain coming through, kind of made it tricky to see out all that far, but definitely some beautiful ocean views. Also, another thing that we learned, the one hotel did have penguins at it. And so a lot of us think that penguins are only in the Arctic and colder climates, but you can have varieties of penguins that actually like tropical environments. So these come from a more African ancestry, coming from that continent over. So they like the more tropical climate. They're well taken care of there. So there was about 6 of them that live there. And so they do kind of a presentation every day when they feed them. So it was kind of neat to see penguins in a place that you wouldn't really expect it. When we did have some rain at the end of the day, so it was at the end of the trip, so it was a little bit tricky. There was a big rock in the road when we were in Maui, so that was kind of concerning because everything was getting pretty soggy. You can see this river just kind of gushing from all that rainfall that they were picking up. So that stationary front was just kind of sitting there dumping a lot of rain. And as the folks were saying, it was actually very dry there. So they were happy to see the rain. Of course, the tourists, maybe not so much, but the locals were very happy to see the rain. They needed it to kind of help to make everything a little bit more lush. Of course, after the fire that they had in August of 2023, they, of course, are very cautious. They would love to see that water come in to make sure everything isn't so dry and so crispy. So, of course, they are very much taking care of their islands there. So if you're ever able to visit, just know that we want to help them take care of their homes. Now, this is our group photo. We took this in Oahu. So this is in front of the King Kalamea statue. So King Kalamea went and he was the one who went and got all of the Hawaiian Islands put together. So they were all under different royal families over the different islands, and he went and kind of conquered and brought them all together. So that happened, of course, years ago, but he's credited for kind of getting all of the Hawaiian Islands together as one. So we took a group photo there, so you can see we had a great crowd. A lot of fun, a lot of people just enjoying the day. We had great weather. This is also, though, not their state capitol building. They just have a lot of nice homes and such that are left over. But we had a beautiful day for touring through Oahu, seeing the city side, but also kind of the rural portions of it. So it's definitely a fun experience for folks to see. Of course, everybody has a different experience when you go. So beyond the plane ride, of course, it's definitely well worth visiting the 50th state, but it is going to be a long plane ride to get there. I will say that, but it was well worth it. It was absolutely wonderful to meet all of these people, to see kind of how their daily lives work, what's important to them, and get to know them a little bit better. So it was wonderful. We had a fantastic group of folks. So, of course, always looking forward to getting to know all of you. Even Christine Winter, she's actually going on the trip to Alaska. So in case you've seen the commercial, so she will be going there. So if you want to go and partake in visiting the 49th state, then you can do as such. But that's just a little snippet. That's not even the full tour, but that's still kind of the fun parts that what we had of the trip. So glad that, though, a lot of you were able to join me today for a little bit of weather, but also some warmer thoughts. And we're going to be right back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll be keeping an eye on those temperatures and bringing in that sunshine into your first alert forecast. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us. Today's stream has been brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.